Oh, and admit the last person there. So you can either draw it out with your pencil. I prefer to do the whole thing in pen. So it's really all about pressure when you're using your ballpoint pen. Let's actually go this way. And you guys can do the same way you did your ink value scales. You can do that with the ballpoint pen as well. And I'm lightly sketching it out. I'm not putting too much pressure on the pen. All right, so I have my details sketched out where everything's going to be. And then I'll start going in with alternating pressure. Hold on, I'm trying to make sure that the camera stays there. Okay, so I'll do my outline. And then I'll start shading when I come off that line. I'll go light, come back to crosshatch, and start building that up. A little darker, a little darker. And the best example of these kinds of drawings are going to be in that monsters book, which we'll be doing an assignment for with next week. So I'd start looking through there and at least do one of these drawings. So it'll prepare you for that drawing next week. And the closer together you get the lines, the darker it's going to look, the more spread out, the lighter it's going to look. And then you can just take off pressure until it sort of fades away. And directional shading is still very, very, very important, especially when you have so many lines. It'll flatten out really fast if you don't take precautions and you don't follow the shape of the form. Somebody really wants to get a hold of me. And the way you work on the implied line is like I was doing right there, where I do some hatching, maybe do a little bit of stippling to round it out. And if you guys have trouble controlling your pen and can't get the precise get it to stop, you can take a ruler, a piece of paper just like this, and that way it stops right where you want it to stop. But with enough practice, hopefully you guys won't need that. And the faster you work, the more transparent and the more of gradient you'll get. And these, I recommend doing a longer drawing, because you can be quick and expressive and it can come out really nicely, but I like to give myself enough time to really develop stuff. Also, surprisingly, ink is not as permanent as you think it is. Be careful to avoid areas that you just put down, because you can smudge it. Sometimes you'll be able to come in with your pink eraser and take it out. Sometimes you won't be able to. Oh, crap. Hold on, I gotta plug in my laptop before it dies. All right, and I'm going to do the body using a different sort of technique you can use as well. You still outline things the same way, really nice and crisp, but then you can come in with these really great, super messy, organic lines that just look super fun. You can get dark a lot faster, but I prefer this way. But of course, do whatever feels natural to you. Also putting down a lot of pressure. And lighter to go out. For that implied line, you just be making your scribbles and your marks. I'm going to outline the rest of this cat, and then we're going to mess with the background. But before we get to that, any questions at this stage for the ballpoint pen? Yes? No?
No.
Okay. Block this off.
Well, I do have a question. So is this just any sort of ballpoint pen, or is there a particular type that you'd recommend?
No, the cheaper the better. You can even go to your junk drawer, which is what I did right before this, and grab the two cheapest looking pens. You know,
Okay.
you want that kind of where it's almost dried out, so you can get that gradual line change and the value change.
Okay.
Okay, and then I have my alcohol ink here, and what you can do, if you you can do a few things. You can tape this off. You can cut out the shape, tape it on there to protect it. You could do this first and draw out where your piece is going to go, and then work around that. Or you can go full in, which is what I'm going to do. So I have a warm gray, a champagne gray, and then a pinkish white, and this gold. And we don't really want to mess too much with color, so I picked all muted tones, because adding color can be a little tricky. And I also have this colorless blending ink, but all this is alcohol. So you could go to Dollar General or Dollar Tree and pick up some rubbing alcohol and use it for this too. So I'm gonna go in here, and you can use a brush or you can use it directly from the bottle. And I'm gonna just drip some. The closer you get, the bigger your little dots are going to be, but also you can come in and you can draw a little bit and see the ink will blend out with the alcohol a little bit. But I'm just drawing with the ink. And there's a lot more control than you realize with it, because it absorbs, the paper absorbs it so fast. There's really not any time for it to make a huge mess, you know. And when you drop it into something that's already wet, you'll get these really cool patterns coming out of it. Oh, I'm getting a little bleed right there, but that'll be fine. I come in with my white, do this, and it makes all these other little patterns. And it adds all these fun little layers. And you can even put it down as dots, and that'll cover wherever that area hit. That will remain pretty much white, I mean, as you go in and start working. Another thing you can do is you can create drip patterns, and you can also do controlled drips. And you want to kind of layer these to have some sort of cohesion. I like to push the background, make sure there's a darker color at the top or the bottom, kind of anchor it. And you do want to work fairly quick to get these cool little patterns in. You can also take your brushes. I'll show you this in a second. I'm going to ahead of myself. You can take your brushes, a little cup. Let's use the champagne. Put yourself some of that, and remember that will evaporate pretty quickly. And then you can flick out with your brush to make a smaller pattern. Like it kind of looks like, does anybody remember the blow pens that they used to sell on TV? Or am I too old?
Yep, we had those.
Okay, sweet. But it comes out with a pattern like that, and it's really cool, super messy, really nice. Now you could make the background all drips. You could make it a solid color. It's really up to you on how much you want to play with it. But I'm serious. It is so much fun to do, and it's mesmerizing seeing all the shapes and patterns like emerge, because there's as much control as there is with it. There is a major element of chaos because you don't have 100% control.
Hey, Spencer, who has the best price on those alcohol inks that you found?
For the Copics, Blick, I think they're $5 or $6 a piece on that. But if you go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby, they have them in sets with a lot of them in it for around $20.
Oh, okay, cool.
And that's why it's not required you guys get them, because it is kind of expensive. But since I use the Copic stuff pretty regularly and everything, I do have all that stuff on hand. And it is a really fun option if you have the extra money. And you could also draw back into this in the back as well. Or, you could tone the paper with this and go in, work on top with your chalk or Conte.
What are your thoughts on the alcohol ink markers? When I went to Hobby Lobby, I didn't see any of the straight ink. I only saw them in marker form.
Yeah, so the alcohol ink is going to be not in the drawing supplies, but in the crafting section. The
Okay.
alcohol ink markers, that's what these are meant to refill, or they're used for like stamping and that sort of crafting stuff. But so they're more precise, and they won't give you this amount of ink on the paper.
Mm-hmm.
I think I suggested in your supplies you guys getting a set of alcohol marker gray tones. When we get to our portrait section, I'll show you guys some of that stuff.
Okay.
Because that's what I use on the daily, is the alcohol ink markers. And I mean, you can go on forever doing this. But let's go back one more time with the alcohol. Get some more little splash patterns. Lots of little dots. Okay. Any questions about playing with the backgrounds in alcohol ink?
No.
Nope. Okay. I was so sick on Monday. Was the demo all right? Was it clear for you guys?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. It was.
Ink is really, really, really difficult and super frustrating. Any questions about your ink? Has anybody started?
No.
No,
Not yet.
that's fine. Questions will pop up, I'm sure. Just keep me updated, and I would start sooner than you guys start your other drawings because it just takes so much more time to do this stuff. Because there's that drying time. You can speed it up with the hair dryer, but also be very careful with the hair dryer. If you have a lot built up and you go in at an angle, it might splash onto something you don't want it to splash on. So I would recommend keeping that hair dryer on low and pretty far away from your piece.
Okay.
If nobody has any other questions, I'm going to write down your names of who was here. And you'll get 5 extra points next Monday when I do my grading. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, awesome. Thank you guys for hopping in, and I hope this stuff is fun for you.
Hey, Spencer, I'm sorry. I did have one question real quick. Since the ink is a little more fluid and everything, would we be better selecting objects that have more curved lines than like boxes and straight lines, or does it really matter?
I don't think it really matters. I personally enjoy drawing those more curved objects, but also drawing those cubes and stuff will help you with the ink doing a flat wash.
Gotcha.
So that might be something good to practice.
Okay.
So I think just having an array of objects would benefit you.
Okay, just try, just as before, don't worry about that.
Mhm.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Nope.
Nope. All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your evening, guys. And
All right.
Thank you.
talk to you
Thank you
soon.
very much.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thanks.